Coming up on West Side Stories, we look at how one local organization is helping those in need deal with the extreme winter weather.
Plus, an inside look at one of the most unique places in West Michigan to relax with a craft beer.
And what makes Grand Rapids one of the fastest growing economies in the United States? Find out next on West Side Stories.
West Side Stories is produced by students from the Multimedia Journalism program at Grand Valley State University. Support also comes from the School of Communications, inspiring thought, perfecting practice.
Welcome to West Side Stories. I'm Elliot Perpich.
And I'm Savannah Bressman.
Winter storms continue to plague the greater Grand Rapids area, and students are feeling the impact. Schools all across the state have had to cancel classes, creating a record number of snow days where schools fear that they'll have to extend the school year.
That's right, Elliot. According to MLive, a few Michigan lawmakers are working on legislation that'll nullify any snow days called during the state of emergency. This means that school districts might not have to add those extra days.
But the cold temperatures and power outages have affected more than just Michigan's school year. Reporter Christopher Cooper takes a look at how those who don't have homes dealt with the extreme weather and how one organization is trying to reach out to those in need.
As winter storms roll through Michigan one after another, many of us retreat to warmth in the comfort of our homes. But for some, there is no home or warmth. This is the problem facing Grand Rapids' homeless population. Places for community like Hartside Park are left abandoned, with only small signs to show of the homeless community. And with the recent power outages, many more are in need of warmth. Although a glimpse of sun brought life into the city, the winter weather is not finished. But places like God's Kitchen are committed to aiding those in need during this extreme weather.
There is a number of warming centers and there are programs like within a 3-mile radius from here. So within a 3-mile radius, there are 12 warming centers. We serve as a warming center as we're open, but when we're not, there are other places that they can go to that are steps away.
These shelters welcome many of the homeless, but some of the homeless are reluctant to go, leaving it up to the police to get them to safety.
They will sweet talk you, do whatever they got to do to get you into the car, to get you to a shelter, because it's just too dangerous for you to be out.
If we have extreme weather in the city of Grand Rapids, we actually have a response team that will go out and proactively search out individuals who lack shelter, and we'll engage that population and try to convince them to come with us where we can take them to safety and security, at least during those times of extreme inclement weather. So we try to be observant of their civil rights while trying to help everybody that we can.
Shelters are also trying to help everybody that they can, some extending their hours as well as providing warmth for those who have lost power. Vorel says attendance has been all over the place.
We have been as low as, like 120 patrons up to 315 and, different numbers every day. So it all depends on exactly what's going on, how cold it is, what other programs are running, are the buses running, is it really, really icy? Can you even get here by walking? Is it too dangerous? I mean, there's a lot of variables.
One variable the kitchen faces is the lack of supplies being brought in due to the weather. Vorel says they've had to conserve their resources and get creative with what they have. Along with this, the power outages have caused more people to seek food and warmth, making conserving resources even more important.
I've seen a lot of different people that we don't normally see, just because they don't want to walk too far, or they can't get to where they normally go to, or the power was out, so they just want to go somewhere to stay warm for a little bit. That was another problem as well. So all around us there are a Section 8 housing, and when the power is out or things like that, or they can't get out and get to a bus, yeah, they'll come and see us quite often.
The weather not only made it difficult for those being served, but also for the volunteers. However, many braved the weather to help support their community.
Some of them we have that come as far away as like Sparta and Cascade, things like that. They come from pretty far out. But they've somehow made it. Most of them made it here. I think I've only had maybe 2 absences the last 2 weeks.
I come in rain, shine, or snow, or even when it's warm out. If it's bad weather, I got to come here to help the people, serve the people, and if it's hot, I come also to serve them.
Although there are many shelters in Grand Rapids, Vorel says there are still not enough. But she is hopeful that the recent weather has opened people's eyes to the situation. In Grand Rapids, I'm Christopher Cooper.
Thank you for that story, Chris. If you would like to help, Vorel says the best way to give to the homeless is to donate some of your own time, volunteering at established organizations.
It's no secret to Grand Rapids residents that their city is growing. Just look at all that construction going on downtown. Reporter Madeline Crace talked with some local businesses to see why Grand Rapids has one of the fastest growing economies in the U.S.
According to a recent article on MLive, Grand Rapids is one of America's fastest growing cities. Some attribute this to the growth of many small, unique businesses like Blue Bridge Games.
So Blue Bridge Games is your friendly local game store. We specialize in all kinds of fun things played on a table. So board games, card games, role-playing games, got your jigsaw puzzles, all that type of fun stuff. We are strictly analog, so we're trying to encourage folks disconnecting from screens, getting back to more old-fashioned hobbies where you're talking with family and loved ones and friends and actually reconnecting with folks. Good conversation around a fun board game.
Margaret Kleiss thinks that shops like Blue Bridge Games set trends that made Grand Rapids a hotspot for businesses. Jane Van Letten, co-owner of Spirit Dreams in Easttown, has experienced the ups and downs of 25 years running a small business in Grand Rapids.
The residential areas of the business districts are full and have been. They're vibrant. These are walkable communities. So they become more of all of those things. In other words, Easttown always was that. So when people talk about us growing, it's gotten more dense. So that, with that said, obviously, small business districts are thriving in a different way because the community has evolved.
It has evolved, and it's grown. Forbes recently ranked Grand Rapids as one of the fastest growing economies in the U.S., with a 21.8% increase in gross product growth from 2011 to 2016. But it wasn't always that way. According to the nonprofit organization Uptown Grand Rapids Incorporated, the city is currently experiencing a renaissance. Back in the 70s and 80s, businesses were leaving the inner city. Now, specialty shops and other businesses are coming back.
There are people moving here who want to start businesses, who want to start unique businesses, who have really interesting, unique concepts to bring to the city.
In the early 2000s, the nonprofit Uptown Grand Rapids Incorporated came to life. Uptown unites 4 small business districts in Grand Rapids: Easttown, East Fulton, East Hills, and Wealthy Street. Their mission? To support infrastructure, marketing, and accessibility within the small businesses in the 4 districts.
We're having a boom in residency, a boom in property values, and really what that means for small businesses is more traffic and more people wanting to open businesses.
Margaret Kleiss and Ken Kleiss, owners of Blue Bridge Games and Van Letten of Spirit Dreams, both think that Uptown Grand Rapids Incorporated has re-energized the local business climate.
Being in an area that's both part of the city but also a neighborhood area seemed like a really good mix. And during our search, we went to a lot of the business district meetings in the different neighborhoods in Uptown, and we had really great experience talking to people, and just it seems like the small businesses in the area really do a good job of working together, and people are really encouraging.
According to the Small Business Association, most new jobs in the U.S. are attributed to small businesses. It looks like Grand Rapids is following this trend. If more people and businesses continue to move into the inner city, there's good reason to believe Grand Rapids will continue its steady rate of growth. In Grand Rapids, I'm Madeline Crace.
Hockey season is in full swing, and Grand Valley State University's hockey team is no exception. Up next, reporter Eli Ung takes a look at the life of Division II club hockey players at GVSU.
For college students like Lucas Little when they arrive on campus, club sports may not seem like an opportunity to travel the world and represent the United States, but that's exactly what club hockey did for the senior defenseman at GVSU. As a junior at Grand Valley State University, Little was selected to represent the United States by the ACHA in the inaugural World Cup of College Hockey, hosted across 10 European countries.
Our coach at the time pulled me aside at practice, actually, and kind of just mentioned it and threw it in my ear, basically, and just said, hey, this opportunity is available for you. And, the committee, I guess there's like a committee that selects players. You've been chosen by the committee as a player that they would want to be a part of the team, and kind of just gave me some general information about it.
Little and crew played 3 exhibition games against the European University Hockey League and Russian Students Hockey League, winning 5-1 against the EUHL and losing 2 decisions against the Russian SHL 0-7 and 1-6.
The Europeans they were all, it seemed like we were playing grown men, to be totally honest. They were a lot bigger than us. They were very skilled, very fast. That was definitely one of the better hockey teams I've ever played in my whole career, looking back now.
Aside from playing hockey abroad, club hockey players like Randy Stover and Nick Beers have a few established traditions around the team, like singing 70s hit Right Back Where We Started From by Maxine Nightingale after wins, among others.
And then we have this, it's a car rim that it has a string on it, and we reward it to the player of the game. They give a little speech, only if we win though.
Before every game we play soccer, which seems kind of weird as hockey players, but yeah, we all get in a big circle and juggle around the ball. And we've got a little game we call sewer, and basically you're trying to get your teammates out by making the ball hit them and then hit the floor.
GVSU D2 club hockey head coach Carl Trojan has been around hockey since he was 3 years old. You could say that he knows a thing or two about weird hockey traditions and how crazy players can be about them.
The list gets long, right? So I always did right side first. Everything right side first, right skate, right pad, right arm in the chest protector. Everything was right side first. And then there were some laundry issues where we got on a roll. You didn't wash certain pieces of gear or undergarments or clothes, and so that was for a while.
While GVSU likes to keep the good times rolling to some 70s pop after wins and hand out car parts as trophies, something else that plays a factor into hockey is the academic pursuit that goes on outside the rink.
I think even though we're a club sport, it's still tough to manage academics to an extent, so I try to plan out my day accordingly so that I know that I've set time to work on school, because I know I got practice and games later on in the week.
And we really try to keep everyone on top of their academics, make sure we don't have anyone's grades slipping, because that can be detrimental to the team. If you're academically ineligible, we would have to forfeit a game as a loss.
While Beers and Stover try to maintain their schedules and hold teammates accountable for their academics, Coach Trojan admits that it's tough keeping track of his players' grades at times.
And it's hard sometimes to know a kid's struggling, and you can only do so much. And then obviously at the end of the semester, you get your grades back, and an eligibility report says, Johnny can't go, and unfortunately he sits the semester. You know what I mean? It's hard for us to monitor that just because we don't have the protocols in place, I guess, to really, know weekly or monthly or bi-weekly how our kids are doing in class.
According to the ACHA's academic eligibility guidelines, players must maintain a GPA above 2.0 and be registered for at least 9 credit hours at their enrolled institution.
From Griff's Georgetown in Hudsonville, Michigan, I'm Eli Ong.
The ACHA playoffs are right around the corner for the Lakers club hockey teams. If you would like to keep up with the action, you can follow @GVSU Hockey on Twitter for more updates.
We've been talking a lot about people staying warm during these cold months, but what about our pets? While people in the city work on staying safe, Madeline Crace explains how we can keep our furry friends warm this winter.
Time of year, it's just really important to feed your animals well, keep them as warm as possible, and be understanding because it's really tough for them out there.
Annette Fenwick volunteers in an animal rescue facility called Critter Cottage. She says very cold weather causes problems for pets.
Well, they have issues with their paws, they have issues sometimes with breathing issues because the weather is so cold.
To determine whether or not it's too cold for your dog, Tufts University created a chart to determine a dog's tolerance to cold weather based on size. Vets like Richard Siegel say that the thickness of a dog's coat also makes a difference.
And you take a dog like a husky that has a very thick coat, you know, they love the cold, but even they have limitations when it's, you know, below zero. Versus a dachshund, they don't even want to put their feet on the ground when it's cold.
Dr. Siegel has spent the last 40 years advising his patients on the harm cold temperatures can cause pets. He says there are warning signs that your pet is struggling with the cold.
As their body temperature lowers, they become more and more lethargic, difficult to breathe. The biggest thing with hypothermia or frostbite is the ears in dogs, because they're thin, and also their legs and paws are the biggest concerns with frostbite. And needless to say, if they're outside too long, you know, they can die just due to the cold weather.
When the outdoor temperatures reach record lows and Michigan gets blasted with snow and ice, Fenwick says people should watch for stray animals struggling with the cold as well.
If you find a stray cat and dog, if you could keep them in your house or garage, that would be wonderful, and contact the Kent County. You have to bring them into the animal shelter.
Outdoor cats that don't come in the house, keep them in the garage. Things to do there is to have a small box that's well insulated for them up off the floor. Why you want it small is their body heat will actually help keep them warm.
It can be difficult to keep pets, namely dogs, inside for long periods of time in the winter. So at Grand Ravines Dog Park, pet owners like Cindy Swistic take certain precautions with her dog Ollie so they can be outside together.
When it's in the negative, we only let him go out for a few minutes. And usually he'll let us know too, because he lifts up his paws and then we know it's too cold and he needs to come inside. We do have little booties for him though, so he can go for a walk.
Swistic says the dog park is a place to exercise Ollie without the danger of him running away.
In previous years when it's been bitterly cold, unfortunately, one of our clients, their pet ran away and they couldn't find it for overnight. And unfortunately, the small dog, one of the paws was severe frostbite. We tried to save the paw, but unfortunately, we did have to amputate part of the paw. And this could have been prevented if the pet owner had the dog on the leash.
Before you let your four-legged friends out and about this winter season, remember that if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them.
Staying warm in West Michigan, I'm Madeline Crace.
Thank you, Madeline, for that important reminder.
If you're feeling a bit cabin feverish after all this snow, we here at West Side Stories have got you covered. Let's take a look at some fun events that might help you get out of the house and into something more exciting. In case you didn't know, Beer Month is officially here. From February 15th until mid-March, people in Grand Rapids enjoy all kinds of beer-themed activities. But while you're sipping that beer, you may want to reflect on how the craft beer trend got started in Grand Rapids. Reporter Jake O'Donnell introduces us to the man who, many think, started it all.
Since the early 1990s, one small market on Lake Michigan Drive has found itself at the heart of the Grand Rapids beer boom. Siciliano's Specialty Market is known for its role in the growth and development of many local brewing establishments. Under the ownership of Steve Siciliano and his wife Barb, what was once a run-of-the-mill party store has been transformed into a beer lover's paradise.
If you want to be let's say a world-class beer store, you have to carry all the world-class beers. That way, folks know that they can pretty much get what they need here. If it's available locally, we have it.
Siciliano's not only sells the finished products of many local breweries, but also provides them with the ingredients necessary to create their signature beers.
So many local professional brewers came from the homebrewing ranks. And we got to know those folks over the years, and it's really kind of neat to know most of the professional brewers around Beer City, USA, because we knew them as customers. I don't think we directed them towards their goal in life to become a professional brewer, but we were here perhaps helping them a little bit, so feel pretty good about that.
Siciliano's doesn't just serve as a go-to place for beer making supplies. Rather, as local author and beer expert Patrick Evans suggests, it is the birthplace of the beer boom itself.
Without Steve Siciliano at Siciliano's Market, Grand Rapids beer wouldn't be what it is. I'd say at least 80% of the brewers that are making beer commercially in Grand Rapids got their start buying, grains and hops from Steve.
One of the major things that Siciliano says makes his shop so successful is the dedication and hard work of his employees.
You have to find good employees who are very passionate about beer. You have to find employees who know what they're talking about. You have to find folks who just love talking about beer. That's what separates us perhaps from some of the chain stores where you can go in and buy some craft beer now, but chances are you're not going to find anybody to talk about it. So that was our commitment, and we've developed that over the years.
Another thing that keeps the market running strong, Siciliano says it's the hometown feel and the dedication of its loyal customers.
The cool thing about mom and pop shops, I think it's almost a dying breed, but the cool thing about a store like ours is that the relationships you have with customers. So many times I'll be sitting at my desk doing something, and one of the customers will come in, and I keep a metal folding chair in the area just in case they want to sit down and chat. And it's just that relationship with the customers that really is a wonderful thing. I have so many friends I've met through this business, and that's invaluable.
Despite its size, 5,000 square feet to be exact, Siciliano's Market will continue to be a major player in the West Michigan beer scene. Reporting from Grand Rapids, I'm Jake O'Donnell.
Thanks, Jake. Whether you're a beer lover or not, Siciliano's offers something that anyone can enjoy, a living piece of Michigan history.
Going to a fancy bar for craft beer can lighten your wallet. So reporter Sam Schrepferman suggests you invest some time exploring a new way to buy beer, the Kalamazoo Beer Exchange. And it could save you some money if you can corner the market.
Beer Exchange is the stock market for craft beer.
James Flora has always wanted to own his own bar, but wanted an idea that stood out in a way that created an atmosphere for everyone. Back in 2007, Flora says he was inspired by a unique bar he saw online.
I was trying to put together a concept that would be really fun with craft beer, and actually saw this concept in Munich, Germany, but not the way that we feature it here today.
The Beer Exchange works very similar to regular bars. Before the market opens, all beers from 11 to 6 start at fixed prices, similar to bars like Bell's or Hopcat, Flora says. Once the market opens with a ring of the bell, prices stay at the fixed rate for a short amount of time.
After the first 15-minute trading period, based on demand, the beer prices will either go up or down. So if a beer is hot and people are really excited about that beer and they're buying a lot of that beer, that price is going to go up in price. And if people aren't so excited about a particular beer, that's going to go down.
There are 28 beers on tap that are used for the bar itself, as well as the market. Flora says this gives people the chance to try different types of beer that they may not usually buy.
And it would encourage people to maybe try beers that they necessarily wouldn't want to try, or maybe were afraid to try because of the price. And it just kind of encouraged people to be more adventurous.
Flora's main focus for the Beer Exchange was to create an environment that was welcoming to everyone. He says that he created a way that beer was fun and inviting. Andrew Chen loves beer, but says that the Beer Exchange has a unique way of getting people engaged.
I would definitely say they kind of have this unique beer exchange system where the prices fluctuate from time to time.
To add to all the excitement of ever-changing beer prices, market crashes happen randomly throughout the night, keeping everyone on their toes. Crashes can happen at any time of the night, giving people only 5 minutes to order any beer.
When you're trying to buy your beer, you're kind of watching the price, and then suddenly it can all crash, and then you can buy all your beer really cheap. So it kind of adds a new excitement to your drinking habit, so then you're kind of chasing the prices as well.
With all the beers on tap changing in price all night, the beer exchange is able to go through 5,000 glasses a week of beer, opening spots for new beer and more chances to try them. In Kalamazoo, I'm Sam Trepperman.
Flora says he's excited to see where the beer exchange will go. He's even toying around with the idea of opening a new location in downtown Detroit.
And unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this episode. I'm Elliot Perpich.
And I'm Savannah Bressman. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to tune in next week.
West Side Stories is produced by students from the Multimedia Journalism program at Grand Valley State University. Support also comes from the School of Communications, inspiring thought, perfecting practice.